Welcome to the Jamal Thomas Morning Show. I hope you guys are doing all right. My name is Jamal Thomas. I have a fantastic show for you today. Don't always have fantastic shows, but when I do, I do. And today is going to be one of them. I even have a new guest for you guys today. We are going to have Dr. Wilma Leon is a favorite of mine. And his numbers have been going up on the show. So that's even better for me because I like it when everybody's kind of on the same page. So Dr. Wilma Leon, he's going to be on the show Kofi Kwaku. I don't think we've had Kofi on for a week or so it should be good to catch up with him. Russia's building nuclear power plants in the Sahel region. And you can imagine that is big news. I mean, for God's sake, was it Burkina Faso? They didn't even have roads per se. They did, but it was in a tiny percentage of the country. So the idea that liberating gold mines, and yes, I'm using the term liberation of gold mines, or for that matter, building nuclear power plants, those things are big deals. Also, I have another guest named Dr. Assad Zaman. I would verify with him when I talk to him, when he joins me. He is a Pakistani finance. I'll go with that, Pakistani finance. And he goes into this notion of the way that money is not included in economics, which sounds very bizarre, and that's kind of his point. It'll make more sense when we talk to him. Also, the one and only KJ No. KJ, he has to have seen, I haven't necessarily discussed it with him, but usually my guests are well informed. A Chinese warship fired a laser at a German spy plane that were surveilling the region around Yemen. Now, you could say whether this was Yemen or Gaza. I've heard both. KJ will be able to nail it down. I'm going to go with Yemen. And it blinded the plane to the point where they had to abandon their operation, and they complained. And of course, China doesn't care one iota that Germany complains. But I haven't necessarily seen China acknowledge that they've done this, even though this story seems to be completely true. Fascinating. It is a non-kinetic energy weapon that was effectively used to dismantle a plane flying around Yemen. Now, from my point of view, Yemen is doing God's work. Ansar Allah has just sunk a boat. I mean, for God's sake, and they're putting out promos of them sinking boats that were on their way to Israel. Considering Israel is committing a genocide and has murdered at least 100,000, if not more people, anything that prevents and inhibits the operational capability of Israel to continue that genocide is God's work. God's work. This is Ansar Allah, again, doing a promo video. I guess it's not a promo. I guess this is an actuality video of them sinking this ship. It's amazing to me that everybody has a promo video. Men with guns. And of course, when he's walking with the gun up, that means that the boat has been captured and there's no more enemies of the boat. Looking out at the sea, the Red Sea, and they show their guns. And then he goes to this, with them eventually sinking the boat. That is amazing. That is amazing. That is amazing. Everybody has a promo video. I'm fascinated by that. When Ukraine was doing their operation, if you remember, they had their video talking about how they were going to do their the offensive and everything else, and men with beards and thick necks screaming, Slava Ukraine or whatever the hell they were screaming. Well, they've just sunken a carrier going to Israel. Israel's not going to get that ship. So there's that. One of the things I want to hit before I start off is a monologue, and I guess I'll cut this as a specific monologue, and I'm divided on which one to go to because there are two that I want to hit. But I'll go to this one first. I do not know who this goofy fat man is who's complaining about Mamdani. or I should say Mamdani's wife's husband, because he has a very gorgeous wife. But this goofy guy, looks like a cartoon character, is making the argument comparing Mamdani to David Duke, white supremacist David Duke. There's that, which I don't like, which is why I'm being very derisive towards this guy. But it's also making an argument that I've heard before that I want to get into, because the argument that he's making to me is the argument of why the left, anybody that considers themselves on the left from the standpoint of workers' rights, from the standpoint of the economic left of the political spectrum, should never vote for a Democrat. Should never vote for a Democrat. And yes, I understand that Mamdani is running as a Democrat. Fair enough. You can make exceptions here or there when the person is an actual lefty. But I'm pointing out that you are not on the same side. We are not on the same team. Our objectives and goals in the political space is radically different. And because those objectives and goals are radically different, they are aware that they're different, which is the reason why they don't support you. They will use a collective we when they are trying to get you to vote for them or for some random candidate, Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, or any random Democrat that they put up. But if you get into a position where somebody that you want, that you support, that you back, that is a true economic lefty, or at the very least comes across as a true economic lefty, gets in a prime position, they would do everything in their power to subvert and undercut you, and would do everything in their power to make sure you don't win. Go back to Chris Matthews, when Chris Matthews made that point of saying it is better for Donald Trump to win as opposed for Sanders to take it, because if Sanders takes it, he's going to take the party for a generation. And of course, we can't have that. We can't have nice things. We can't have people who are actually popular in the political space to win. We need people to win through our narrow lens of support that we as a Democratic Party agree with. And I'm saying, fair enough. Get them elected on your own steam. Don't come to us. Nor should you go to them for support. I don't care if Satan himself is on the other side of the political spectrum. That Democrat should fail. They don't back you. They don't back your priorities. They don't back your concerns. And again, when you have somebody like Mamdani, who is very popular, extraordinarily so, and will most likely win the mayoral race, what do you get? You get a bunch of other Democrats who are unpopular jumping into the race, doing everything in their power to undercut him. You get Democrats in Capitol Hill. You get Democrats who are in New York itself doing everything in their power to make sure he doesn't win, including putting out documents saying, hey, we should vote for whoever's the popular Democrat by November. Okay, dude, you've had a primary. You've had a Democratic primary. He won. But now you don't want to give him your support. Hence, we are not on the same side. We're not on the same side. I don't know who this goofy guy is, but I'm going to let him make his case, because his case is effectively my case.
He is a target-rich candidate, Mamdani, as target-rich as any candidate that we have seen of this sort since David Duke. Remember, 1990, the Republican Party en masse, David Duke wins the Louisiana gubernatorial primary, is far and away, given the shifting politics of Louisiana at the time, a generic Republican candidate would have run away with that race. The entire institutional Republican Party turns on Duke, right? The president of the United States says, do not vote for the Republican. The Republican president of the United States said, do not vote for the Republican candidate for governor in Louisiana. He is a racist. He is a monster. And I withdraw the Republican umbrella from over his head. And Duke lost. One Democrat, as far as I can tell, has so far said he should not win, and that is John Fetterman. We've had Democrats say, I don't like the sound of this, and I don't like the feeling of that, and I'm a little troubled by this, and I'm a little troubled by that. And he is, in Democratic terms, not much different. Why? Because David Duke's a Nazi, so of course no one should be a Nazi. Well, no one should be a Stalinist either in the United States, or a supporter of a terrorist group that has murdered Americans in the last 2 years. But remember, he is a supporter of Hamas, and Hamas murdered Hersh Goldberg Poland among others, in the tunnels under Gaza as he was about to be rescued.
He's getting the democratic rehabilitation process that every member.
So he is a terror supporter. He's being compared to David Duke, effectively what he considers to be a Nazi. And that is breathtaking. I don't know who Jello Man is in this situation. He is saying things that are just outlandish. And you have to think that he's saying these things that are outlandish. If he is a Nazi supporter or a Hamas supporter or whatever the hell he wants to say at this point, Israel has murdered hundreds of thousands of people in the worst, disgusting ways that a person or that a country could do such. They are literally committing a genocide. And to support Palestine, in his mind, is the same thing as supporting, quote unquote, terrorism. Or I would make the argument, resistance to the fact or the people who are committing that genocide. That is an astonishing thing. From my understanding, Mamdani supported the Palestinian cause. And in his mind, just like in the mind of Zionists and genocidal supporters, that is a testament to somehow supporting what happened on October 7th, or that is a testament to supporting, I guess, the killing of Jews. He's out of his damn mind. He's out of his mind. This is once again chum thrown in the water in order to undercut a popular candidate. I don't know if Fat Man realizes it, but the overwhelming majority of the people in this country at this point, even a majority of Republicans, don't agree with the genocide. They disagree with the murdering and the starvation of children, the murder of women, the shooting, the raping of people on camera. I can show you videos of them raping people on camera. I can show you videos of Parliament debating whether rape should be okay, with the majority of the population in Israel saying it should be allowed. I don't know what his fat ass is talking about. The fact of the matter is his main issue is that there is a popular candidate that he is calling a Stalinist, which again is rather astonishing. I've never heard Mamdani say anything about Stalin one way or the other, let alone saying that he supported Stalin at all. And yet, here we are. This puts me in the mind of the people saying Donald Trump is going to put Liz Cheney up against the wall and shoot her in the face. It's desperate. It's deranged. And on some level, it gets across my point that you are not on the same side. These are people who are out of their minds. They are trying to protect a political party, a political system that should die. The Democratic Party is trash. It is a party that should die. I'm saying it flat out. It is in this country's best interest if the Democratic Party hits his head on the hardest corner of a particular room and falls into a very lighted corner, chokes on its own blood, and we watch dispassionately as it gurgles and gurgles and rivals and writhes around and clings to some sort of help, and we should watch dispassionately as it breathes its last and as his heart stops. The world would be better off. This country will be better off. And at that point, hopefully, a workers' party or a party that is representative of America, representative of American workers, the overwhelming majority of all of us, is able to ascend. He is everything that the Democratic Party represents. And my point is that in the same way that they make these notions of we when they are running for office. If you had a Cuomo running for office, he wouldn't be there. All of those grandmas like Cuomo got killed. You think he'd be complaining about it? No, he won't be complaining about it. He wouldn't be complaining about it at all. He'd be perfectly and totally in support. His issue is that Mamdani is a social democrat. For all intents and purposes, he's an FDR Democrat. His issue is that Mamdani actually doesn't just kowtow to a foreign government that is committing a genocide and that just goes along, we're going to Israel. Okay, dude, I live here. My representation is here. I'm here to represent the people of New York. That's what I'm here to do. Full stop. That is his issue. His issue is that Mamdani is not the typical third way trash Democrat that is typically festers and infests the Democratic Party. At some point, the Republican Party, or let's say moderate Republicans, took over the Democratic Party several decades ago, and they've moved further and further to the right. And when they are now dealing with somebody who is actually popular and is actually what you would think a party that is trash, and the perspective of the public of that party is trash, would want, because of his level of popularity, you get trash comments like that. You get trash comments like that. My point is very basic. We are not on the same team. We are not on the same page. If they are using the collective we, that is a scheme to get you to vote for them, while simultaneously, if indeed a candidate that is further on the left or is on the left as a workers' lefty gets elected, they will not support him, they will not support you, and they will do everything in their power to destroy you. It is a scheme, it is a trick, it is something to be avoided. If the Democratic Party wants some rando Democrat to get to ascend, let them do it on their own mind. It is not something we should be involved in. Let them fail. The party needs to die. Let me go to my